Wherever you want to be. I will be wherever you want to be.
Oh. Jennifer, are you ready?
Yes.
You know who online wants to speak about it?
I'm sorry.
You know who online wants to speak about it?
No one has raised a hand at all.
Raise a hand on there.
Yeah. Yet.
That will clear out.
Until we call it. Okay, the time is 6:31, and let the record show that a quorum is present of planning and zoning, that the meeting was duly posted. And also let the record indicate that we're operating under modified Open Meetings Act as allowed by the state of Texas during this time. And before the public hearings start, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our city attorney for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, in regards to item number 14, which is listed, consider and take any action necessary regarding a final plat, being the Adams 2 addition lot 1 block A, in addition to the city of Van Alstyne extraterritorial jurisdiction, Collin County, Texas, being a 7.0 acre tract situated in the William Krieger survey, abstract number 164, generally located north of County Road 1106, east of State Highway 5 and south of County Road 377. In regard to that item, we have received this afternoon, the city received an email from the applicant asking to withdraw the agenda request for that item. And so I'll enter this email into the record to be attached to the minutes. And that we would ask that that item be stricken or passed at the request of the applicant.
Thank you, sir. At the appropriate time, we will enter that into the records. At this time, we'll move on to item number 2. We are in public hearing. And the public hearing, item number 2 is conduct a public hearing to consider testimony on a request by the owner agent of approximately 0.7183 acres of land to rezone for agriculture, planned development, with proposed conditions being consistent with the adjoining development for residential use, contingent upon annexation of the property into city limits. The property is described as approximately 0.7182 acres, being part of the James McKinney survey, abstract number 770, city of Van Alstyne, Grayson County, Texas, generally located south of Spence Road, north of Phillips Drive, west of Graywood Drive, and east of Sanford Circle. Is there an owner or owner representative that would like to speak on this item tonight? If so, please hit the raise hand button on the Seeing none, I will open it up for any citizens that would like to make any comments on this. If you would like to make a comment on this, please indicate by showing the hand on the. Second call for public comments concerning the annexation.
Okay. I do have 2 hands raised
We've
now.
got 2 hands raised.
We'll start with Todd Hensley.
Yeah. Okay. The floor recognizes Todd Hensley.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Sorry about that.
1 second, we're getting squelch. Are you getting squelch on your end also?
I think we fixed it. Did that help?
Thank you. We're good now. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm assuming you need my information first. Todd Hensley, 400 North Oklahoma Drive, Salina, Texas, 75009. And I am the engineer working with the applicant on this piece. He's actually the other one, I believe, that has his hand raised, Jennifer. But what we are trying to do here is work with the church to the north to, they've got a cutout piece of land here that is really unusable for them. And it would fit greatly within our subdivision to the south. So the plan here is to, obviously, as you mentioned, annex that piece of property into the city limits and then zone it to meet the same conditions that are to the south with Graywood Phase 3C, and turn that 0.7183 acres into some residential home sites is the goal there. So happy to answer any questions. And like I said, Daryl Amon with the owner is here also. Like I said, I think he's the other one with his hand raised. So.
All right. Commissioners, any questions?
Just to confirm, we're talking about adding on to the history maker edition. So,
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Perfect. Thank you, Todd. And or do we have another hand or do you think they withdraw?
We have another hand. Maybe not. No, he's withdrawn his hand.
Okay, last call for public comment for public hearing, item number 2. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 3. Still a public hearing, conduct a public hearing to consider testimony on a request by the owner agent to replat property situated in the city of Van Alstyne, Grayson County, Texas, being described as Holy Trinity Edition, and replat of lots 5 through 7 and 12 through 14, Block A, Graywood Heights, Volume 7, page 87, being 6.3468 acres in the James McKinney survey, abstract number 770. The subject property is generally located on the south side of Spence Road, west of Graywood Drive, east of Sanford Circle, and north of Billets Drive. Is there anybody that would like to represent the owner to give information on this? If so, please hit the Zoom hand.
Todd Hensley.
Okay, the floor recognizes Todd Hensley.
Are we good?
Yes.
Y'all hear me? Cool. Sorry, everybody. Do you need me to say my name and address again? Are we good?
No, we're good.
All right. So this is just essentially an extension of the previous item. Basically, we're taking the Holy Trinity Church to the north of the Graywood Heights 3C property and creating 2 lots instead of the 6 individual lots. And the 0.7183 acres, as mentioned, is a separate lot that can be now, after the replat, conveyed to History Maker Homes to perform those residential lots like we spoke about.
Thank you. Commissioner, any questions? Are there any other public that would like to comment on public hearing item number 3? If so, signify by raising your hand on the Zoom. Last call for public hearing item number 3.
once we replat this, we're gonna see the need or show the frontage and all the rest of it and lots. Yes, sir. All right.
No, no
Any other
hands.
commissioners? Okay, if not, the public hearing for item number 3 is closed. We will move on to item number 4. Under public hearing, conduct a public hearing to consider testimony on request by the owner agent to replat property being described as replat of lots 8 and 9 in 9R and 10RR, the hills of Lone Star, phase 2A, Bear Creek. being 13.467 acres. Being a replat of lots 8 and 9 of the hills. A Lone Star Phase 2A Bear Creek is recorded in volume 2008, page 298, and lot 10R, the replat of lot 10R, the hills, Lone Star Phase 2A Bear Creek is recorded in volume 218, page 588 of the Collin County Map Records, James Heflinger Survey, abstract 366, City of Van Alstyne, Collin County, Texas. Such property is generally located south of Collin County Road 179 and east of Collin County Road 176. Commissioners, we have seen this one on an ongoing basis. If there is anybody representing the owner that would like to speak, please hit the button, raise hand. If not, is there anybody from the public that would like to address item number 4 on public hearing? Last call for public comments on item number 4, public hearing. Seeing none, I close item number 4, public hearing, and go on to number 5, public hearing. Conduct a public hearing to consider testimony on a request by the owner agent for replat property situated in the city of Van Alstyne, Grayson County, Texas, being described as a replat of the Greer Second Edition, Block 16, Lot 1, in addition to the city of Van Alstyne, Texas, recorded in volume 80, page 113 of the deed of records of Grayson County, Texas, James County Survey, abstract number 770. The subject property is generally located on the northwest corner of Clemens Avenue and Knox Street. If there is an owner agent that would like to address this item, please signify by raising the hand on Zoom. Seeing none, I will open it up for the public comment on item number 5, public hearing.
Nothing.
Last call for item number 5, public hearing for public comment. If not, I will close public hearing, item number 5. Public hearing, item number 6. I know I should have brought my drink with me. My mouth's getting dry. Conduct a public hearing to consider testimony on a request by the owner agent of approximately 0.201 acres of land for a zoning request to rezone from single-family residential 1 SF1 to neighborhood convenience district in C for a specific use permit to allow a veterinary clinic with no outside fence. The property is described as WN Grand Addition replat of S150 Block 7, South Addition Block 7, Block 3 acres, 0.201, more commonly known as 676 South Waco Street. Is there an owner or agent of the owner that would like to address item number 6 on public hearing?
I have Blake Watson.
Blake Watson. The floor recognizes Blake Watson.
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I am the owner of the property. That particular location was my previous residence. I now actually live just down the road. I'm considered in Gunner, Texas now. I am looking to have that home rezoned to open a small animal only veterinary practice with no boarding, no grooming. It is strictly small animal medicine only, primarily functioning between the days of Monday and Friday. And so we are looking to, as far as parking, I know there's some questions I saw on a community Facebook post in regards to what the ingress egress would be. we've looked at it, and our approach in order to meet the parking requirements for the square footage we have there would be to actually have parking along the south side of the house. So actually onto Houston, not interfering with traffic on Highway 5. We'd have 8 spots to meet the requirements for 1 spot per 200 square footage of housing. We'd also be doing a little bit more remodel in terms of putting up a larger privacy fence too, per the request of my former neighbors behind me there, and in conjunction with what's required to do this. There was some questions too about would we be tearing down the house or leaving it. I have no plans to tear that house down. That house has a lot of history in Van Alstyne. It's fairly unique because it was actually where the original veterinarian in Van Alstyne, Dr. Bryant, resided back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And so we're trying to bring this full circle to begin treating animals again at that house as they once were. Trying to think if we had any other questions, but I think primarily most people that I saw that had concern did have questions about parking. And then they also had questions about what was going to happen to the house. And so with that, I'll yield the floor back to you guys. If anybody has questions, I'm more than happy to address them.
All right. And so we'll see a plat of this before it's final, correct?
We see the neighborhood commercial, we see a site plan, not necessarily a plan.
Okay, we'll see a site plan on this. So are you gonna address ADA issues on this property?
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
You'll have to use.
You're prepared to address American Disabilities Act issues on this property?
Yes, we've been taking measurements in terms of what we're going to have to do to make sure that the doors are structured appropriately for wheelchair access. The way the parking would set up too, we'll be able to have an unloading area for disabled vehicles, as well as have a ramp up to the front porch, since it is a pier and beam house and not a level foundation.
Well, hopefully you won't have any disabled vehicles with disabled people, but sorry, that's good. Okay, and we did have a written in, Commissioner, there's in your packet, a written in comment that is in support of this from Clifton Dean, who's located at 174 West Houston. And he said he's talked to the property owner and understands the plan and fully expects it to be a positive addition to the community. So please let's enter that into the record. And then if any other community members would like to address this public hearing, please signify by raising your hand. And then seeing none, Jennifer, you received one other comment on this.
Yes.
Since my mouth's getting dry, I'll let you read it.
Always have to read the long ones. It's from Emily Kendrick. She says, as a 10-year owner and resident of a home on Highway 5, I wanted to submit a quick concern about the proposed zone change for the house on the corner of Houston Street and Highway 5. I have no opposition to more businesses in town. My concern is the unique location of this proposed business, that it is nestled in a residential and historic area. I would ask that the board and council carefully consider the effects of changing the homes on Highway 5 from residential to commercial. I fear that allowing this change will be a Pandora's box. Once one is allowed, more will come. Zoning changes could quite possibly drive homeowners next to and behind the area away. In addition, children play and walk in the area, love our new walking path. With increased parking and traffic to and from a business, their safety could be an issue. People rushing to appointments often are not thinking about kids playing nearby outside. Lastly, several of our most historic and beautiful homes reside on and around Highway 5. Changing this to a more commercial area means bringing in signs, concrete for parking lots, etc., therefore altering the original historic charm of the residential neighborhood. I know change is coming to Van Alstyne. I am sure that Highway 5 will at one point be more commercial. My hope is that the time for this change is not now. Many homes on the street within blocks of this proposed zone change have been recently renovated with thousands of dollars being poured into them. Please take into consideration that these residents take pride in their homes. In fact, for many residents on 5, this has been their home for decades. Highway 5 now may not be a normal looking neighborhood like Georgetown or any of the new subdivisions, but we are still a group of neighbors who choose to happily live here next to other residential homes. I hope that you can understand that having a business suddenly dropped adjacent to your own backyard or forced on you as a neighbor is not a very appealing thought for a homeowner. With most kind regards to all involved, Emily Kendrick.
All right, please enter that into the record. Last call for public hearing, item number 6.
One, Craig Wells.
Chair recognizes Craig Wells.
Yes. Can y'all hear me?
We can.
Okay. I just had a general question about how rezoning works. Kind of my related to this. If let's say the clinic outgrows that property and moves, what does that leave that property open to in the future?
Mr. McGinnis, we'll let our city engineer answer that question.
The property, once it's zoned, will stay zoned until change. So it's, the zoning stays with the property, it doesn't stay with the specific owner.
But if you go back to residential, it would have to go through the same process. And so we figure out address to the record, please. Mr. Wells?
I only heard part of what y'all said. I was looking at my wife, seeing if she heard it. But so once it is zoned commercial with this, the specific use permit, and they move out, it could be anything after that,
Once it's zoned,
auto body shop or anything under the sun. Is that correct?
No, it could not turn into a stop and go or something like that. City approval.
the zoning that is being changed to with the specific uses are the only, and the uses allowed under that zoning are the only ones allowed in that specific, on that property.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wells, will you give your address to the record, please?
160 Paris.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Yes, sir.
Last call for item number 6.
Let's
Public
see.
hearing.
I have Matthew.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you Matthew?
Yes, sir. Matthew Herrera, 1840 Durning Road, Van Alstyne, Texas.
Thank you. We're ready to hear your comments.
All right. Yeah. I think just in general, I mean, my opinion of the situation is I'm in support of it. I think just by the nature of the business itself, it's not a traditional, commercial where it's like a retail or restaurant or something that, that'll have a lot more high traffic than a vet clinic. Typically, just in my opinion, with a vet clinic, it brings, another option to the town. I know I speak for quite a few people in Van Alstyne that are also in support of this, but I'm just dialed in to say that I hope that this does come to fruition, and I think it'll be a good thing for the town, and a good thing for people who obviously have pets. And that's what it's all about, right? So, just calling in to show my support.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Yep.
Once again, anybody else for comments for public hearing, item number 6?
Mr. Watson, did you want to speak again?
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, can you hear me again?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I was just going to address Mr. Wells, because I know there's some concern expressed for, okay, what happens to this house? I mean, just being completely straightforward, when I discussed with the Community Development Committee about what my plans were, we did take this into account that, if this goes through and we're able to get, the clinic going and we do things right and we do experience growth, then, I can certainly understand at some point we're probably going to have to buy a commercial tract, probably somewhere out west of town would be my guess, and build a larger facility to meet the demand. But something I did want to be clear about is I really have no intentions of ever turning this house loose. There again, it was my first house with my wife. We lived there for about 7 years, and I do have some other things from a commercial standpoint that I might be interested in, more so my wife, if we do get to that point. But in terms of what those could be, it'll actually be up to the same situation we're in, applying for a rezone. It may go along the lines of again, some type of boutique type storefront, nothing like an auto mechanic or anything along those lines. It's very important for me that the integrity of the home be maintained. I don't want it to deviate from what it is. Therefore, there again, because of the history that it represents, both for myself, my family, and the town. And so I just wanted to address that I'm not going to be turning this one loose to anybody else for something like that. I do intend to keep the house, regardless of if we're there forever or if we move to a larger facility further down the road.
Thank you. Once again, a last call for item number 6, public hearing. Seeing none, I will, item number 6 is for public hearing is closed, and we will move into the agenda items. First agenda item is approving August minutes for August 19th regular meeting and August 26th special call meeting. I'll entertain a motion, or are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. We will move to items of consideration number 8, and this correlates with public hearing number 2, rezoning ag to planned development. Property described as 0.7182 acres being part of the James McKinney Survey, Abstract 77, City of Van Alstyne, Grayson County, Texas, generally located south of Spence, north of Phillips, west of Graywood, and east of Sanford Circle. Commissioners, any comments, questions, or remarks?
They already started building the road over there? They have started, they've got a grading permit, so they're moving dirt. We haven't released plans for.
No, there's just a chunk in it, I think, where they can go on either side.
Just grading process already.
Yep.
Well, where they're grading across, you kind of see the street goes parallel with the on the screen. So it's all according to the original plan. Right. It's like a good move. It's all right with the rest of the ground. Yeah, exactly. And I don't see a reason not to. I'm curious to see what kind of houses are going to lay out there, so it's going to be more the same. Yes, they're playing that same size lot, same plan that you're seeing on the current record. They have each other. Yes, they do. So this would be part of each other. This all looks like a good idea. I would say 8 and 9.
I would be happy to do that. Well, let's consider them separately. All right, that's a. I don't have anything else. Okay, are you making a motion? I'll make a motion to approve that. Okay, do I have a second? Second. Yeah, you got a second right there. Is there any further discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carries. Item number 9 is the block 5, 7, and 12 through 14, block A, Greenwood Heights, line 7, page 87, being 6.346 acres in James County Survey Abstract 770. The subject property is generally located south of Fence Road, west of Greenwood, east of Stanford Circle, and north of Phillips. And this was public hearing number 3 that we heard tonight. Any comments, concerns, questions from commissioners? Got a motion on the table to approve. Do I have a second? Second. Got a second? Is there any further discussion, questions, comments? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're on to item number 10, which is relating to public hearing number 4. And it's lot 8 and 9 in 10 RR, the Hills of Lone Star, phase 2, Bear Creek, 13.467 acres. We've seen this on a regular basis that they bring it to us, and these are very quality estate homes located on the southwest part of our jurisdiction, actually in Collin County. Commissioners, are there any questions, comments, concerns?
I not yes, we were looking at room. So you say you see this lot, do they replat every time they make a home?
Not every time they make a home, but they do 3, 4, 5 at a time.
And this is for,
And cement, culverts, beautiful subdivision. Pretty standard.
that's all. I just want to, because earlier we said, we can talk about the.
Yeah, I understand.
Sure.
You have anything else to add or?
We have to do that, the Hills of Lone Star.
Yeah, go out there if you want. Okay, any other comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, have we make a motion? Okay, all in favor, motion?
I think what we put that.
Okay, second? Okay, got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11 is relating to public hearing number 5, and it's the Greer's second edition, block 16, lot 1, volume 80, 113, in the deed of records. Being the survey abstract 770, located on the northwest corner of Clements Avenue and Knox Street. Where is that? That is, you want.
Yeah, that is, if you go up to Towson and across Clement and North John Douglas, sweep around, it's about 3 blocks east of the railroad.
And they're basically turning 2 lots into 1 lot to have 1 large lot.
Now, is this going to be SF1, SF2, or, yeah, zoning isn't changing, I think it's SF1.
That's it, 1, but they have
With the
the
original,
state side.
yeah, I mean, with the original town residential district overlay on it, so.
And as of 1 can only be used in our old market. Right. But it would actually pass the muster of the state. So they're turning 2 lots into 1.
Like 40 feet.
This one's, how many square feet is this one? 8,000? It's over 8,000. Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, got a motion, do I have a second? Randy, you better get into this tonight, okay? Randy has a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12 has to do with public hearing number 6, and concerning, neighborhood convenience district for specific use permit veterinary clinic on 676 South Waco Street. And, I will open it up for discussion, questions, comments from the commission.
Neighborhood convenience district. So future use, what else besides the vet clinic?
It could be, well, the other neighborhood uses down there are the Farm Bureau office, the real estate, the custom real estate office, flower shop, things like it. Neighborhood commercial is very limited to office slash.
It can't be a stop and go or something like that, correct?
I can double check. But I'm pretty certain.
I don't know, a couple of blocks later, the donut shop actually commercial.
I just want to make sure we're clear on what that's what we do. And then, well, I probably should ask during the public, we're gonna have animals overnight. No, but you said no warning. You didn't say that?
That's in the request.
Now, I would assume though that the animal, dog, cats having surgery. That would be that, okay. I'm assuming that's an exception.
You want to allow?
No, I wouldn't make that.
Yep, I can allow him to speak and we can ask him the question. Dr. Watson,
Yes, ma'am.
we have a question about overnight pets.
In terms of like emergency services, is that the question?
Yes, would you have pets there overnight at all? You said no boarding, but would you keep them there overnight at all?
So let me kind of talk about this in two different parts. So one, if the veterinarian seeing a pet determined that a pet needed to be hospitalized overnight, as far as the standard of care that myself and my associates practice, generally the recommendation would be made to an owner that it would be best to transfer to a overnight care facility such as Grayson County Animal Emergency Clinic or the Emergency Animal Hospital of Collin County, both which are within 25 minutes of the facility. Now, we would also give the owner the option of leaving the animal hospitalized with us overnight with the understanding that they would not be under constant observation. So would the veterinarian potentially come and check on an animal once or twice overnight? Yes. And so that is a possibility that there could be an animal hospitalized within the house overnight. Now, the other side of it, would we be a emergency animal hospital? We would not. We would be a small animal general practice that does not see, after hour emergency animal patients. There again, the standard of care that myself and my associates strive to provide. We feel like the emergency animal hospitals that are available are better equipped to handle the life-threatening emergencies we many times see after hours. And so it's kind of a gray area. Yes, we could potentially have a pet or two hospitalized overnight at the request of the owner if they were sick enough to require it. But we would not have traffic in and out of there all night for emergency cases.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns, Commissioner?
Will we see, we'll see not quite, site plan?
You'll see a site plan, there's the house up there. Yeah, we'll see that, they have to come in with concrete parking lot.
We have to approve that?
Yes, you will see the site.
I have a question for Dr. Watson. Question for Dr. Watson. Do you own lot 2R to the north? in the subject property?
Can y'all hear me? Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. The screen goes back and forth. I'm figuring this out as I go. Yes, I do own that lot. We had discussed at one point possibly turning that into parking. But with the way the things worked within the guidelines, we were going to try to not disturb that lot for a parking space, but rather just leave it as it is, as a buffer between my neighbors to the direct north, and then also kind of catty corner to the northwest. That leaves the neighbor behind me, which he and I have a good relationship. We've discussed this. He was actually the first person I went and talked to before I ever even made contact with anybody in the city, because I wanted to make sure that he would be okay with this before I moved forward. But yes, to answer your question, sorry getting long-winded there, I do own the lot next to the house to the north.
And would they be entering when you design parking, will they be entering from Houston Street instead of Waco Street? I see a gravel driveway there is that circles that will have to be, it will have to turn into cement, but we had one other on Waco Street, and we had a real issue with people backing out onto Highway 5. So the front end parking on Highway 5, we will probably have an issue with it when it comes to that like that.
I believe Dr. Watson said during his testimony that they plan to park off Houston Street.
Okay.
And then he would have to meet TxDOT requirements to get a permit on Waco Street anyway. So I don't think you could get that.
Okay. Very good.
So my follow-up question to that would be, and I realize it's perception at this point, since we don't have the site plan in front of us, will the parking, the proposed parking be completely off-street? Or will it be, the cars be backing out into Houston Street?
The parking is required to be on site. So if I haven't done the calculation, he mentioned earlier 8 parking spots. They will have to all be on site, and we will coordinate how they get on and off Houston Street. Obviously, we'll try to condense it down to one access point, but until I see a site plan, it will be sure can't turn. Thank you.
Can you speak?
Any other questions, comments, concerns from the commission?
I guess I haven't seen Houston Street, so how is that designed for additional traffic?
Let's see that on the site plan. If we don't like it, we'll look at that. Any other comments, questions, concerns from the commissioners? If not, I'm ready to entertain a motion. Okay, well, okay, and then we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. We appreciate you, Dr. Graham, being with us tonight. Okay, and item number 13, consider and take action regarding the final plat of Jefferson Place addition in addition to the city of Van Austin, Grayson County, Texas, being a tract situated in James County Survey, abstract 770. Being a total of 0.383 acres, more commonly known as 899 East Jefferson Street. And here they are wanting to turn one lot into 2. Both lots are over 8,000 square feet. And do you have anything else?
There's an existing house that will need to be demolished that encroaches on the middle.
Is it a house or is it a mobile
It's a structure of some type.
home? It looks like a mobile home by the area. But I didn't drive by.
There is a structure near the, so to meet setbacks, that will have to be either removed or demolished. And then the 2 lots will be able to have.
And once again, these are large lots, but they would be very in the area that they're going to be zoned as they want.
It's the old town overlay district.
Okay, so
No longer.
No, no.
You know there's more along now. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's one thing, I just want to make sure that we can go back to that.
No, the home's not allowed in this.
That was my.
Once one leaves, they're not coming back. Any other questions, concerns, comments? If not, I will entertain a motion on item number 13. Okay, motion made, second. Got a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, ready for a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're on to item 14. Like to let the record indicate that item 14 has been withdrawn by owner request. No further action needed, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Item number 15, consider and take action necessary regarding a final plat between the Fisher Edwards Road addition and addition to the city of Van Alstyne next to territorial jurisdiction, Grayson County, Texas, being a 3.412 acre tract situated in Jacomaya Smith survey, abstract number 1100, is generally located on the west side of Edwards Road, south of Knob Hill Drive. And
This is on your extreme north,
yeah,
extraterritorial jurisdiction. The plat does indicate that the proposed thoroughfare claims being, they're dedicating the right of way on the road in front, and then the thoroughfare that is scheduled to be on the back is just off site. And the plat does meet the city's requirements in the Grayson County Master Code.
okay. Commissioners, any questions, concerns, comments on this one?
Home business, it's just
And we, out in that area, we do not have,
we don't have something, there's no zoning,
we're just supply. Nothing but the plat. I won't go for it later. Okay, we're good. Any other questions, concerns, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Is there a second? Second. Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I take a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, consider and take any action necessary regarding final plat being the Kennedy Estates Edition, in addition to the city of Van Alstyne extraterritorial jurisdiction, Grayson County, Texas, being 29.618 acres, tract situated in the William Crager Survey, abstract number 201, generally located north of FM 3133 and east of Martin Duke Road. Lynn, would you like to add anything to this one?
Yeah, there are 3 existing lots out there. There were 2 others. It's out off of 3133, just east of Oil Mill Road.
By the water district's office.
Not quite that far, but yeah,
Close.
but in that general vicinity. They do have a mutual access easement that gives access to all 5 lots between the lot 1 and 2 there, which I guess it is. And then, so it complies with the requirements for access and everything's good. So, the minimum width for Grayson County is a 30 foot. If you have a flag lot, you have a minimum.
For the access.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, the access easement is between the 2 on the top there, and then you see the access easement on the outside.
So I do have, how far is this from the, what they're talking about, moving 5 over? Is that in that area?
And then park.
No, yeah, 5 would go through the industrial park, actually.
Yeah.
So the industrial park is further west.
Yes, yes.
But I saw railroad tracks and public.
Yeah. Look like actual, they're plastic lots rather than these. And there's already a tax parcel set up for the ownership, so this is just a kind of solidify. This is cleaning up all property boundaries, and final subdivisions of all the transactions that have happened in the past with these parcels.
All right, any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion. Got a motion, second? Got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now we're going to discuss the Grayson County Thoroughfare Plan revisions, which the county had theirs and handed it on to the city, and the city made suggestions, and they liked some of the city's suggestions, and didn't like others. So now the county has come back with modifications of the modification. That's a good start to it.
Well, I would just say this is an update based on current development threads that are going on east and west of town. And so, yeah, Grayson County, as you recall, this back in 2018, this was the submittal and what the city council approved. The blues being the minor collectors, which are 4-lane proposed facilities in the future, the orange being the 6-lane. So you kind of see FM 121 going out to the west, hooking up and tying into the Spence Road area, and then going east and tying back in. And like Jim mentioned earlier, the Highway 5 route around starting at the county line and tying in with Lincoln Park. So that was done in 2018. And that's what's currently on the board. What is proposed and what you can see now is we gridded the county's proposal and the city's recommendation to the county to update that is to get rid of, and you can see the little cross, the out roadways, which were kind of cross country diagonals that don't meet typical traffic patterns, and then straightening out, and then basically going with Farmington Road as a major, which would be a 6-lane. The Hodgins Road would be a minor. The Spanish Road overpass would be a relocated 121. Being a major, and then the current FM 121 through town would be downgraded to a minor, so it would be a 4-lane facility instead of a 6-lane. And what that does, and okay, there it is graphically based on the cover charts that you saw with the previous submittal and the X's going out. And then what that does is that keeps the city council and Grayson County requested city council back in 2018 took all the 6-lane thoroughfares out of downtown, downsized them to 4 lanes at the most, and then try to make the downtown city a destination instead of a thoroughfare to get north to south and east to west. So 4 lanes being Balancing Parkway and Waco, basically? Yes, yeah. And then you see Ballard Road is 4 lanes, yeah. Which I don't know. So 121, you got a Spanish, you got 121. Well, the 6-lane thoroughfare that comes from 121 east, and this would be east of Spain Road and east and west, just west of Hines Road, would loop up north and divert around the town and make it 6-lane thoroughfare, not the through, would go up and around and line up with the future Spence overpass. And then if west, you'll see that it ties in directly with the big curve as you get out towards Gunner. There's no north-south movement. It ties in directly, and we don't have that big loop that was just redone going out to Gunner.
So how does this play into what's going on now? What's going on now? What's going on now?
Yes.
Or it's just one?
It's 5.
Two on one.
The curve.
Five is their turn.
Yeah, the what's going on now west of town with 121 is a 5-lane facility with a no median, with a permanent or an open turn like 5.
That goes to Elmont.
That goes through Elmont. It goes about 700. It doesn't quite go to Farmington, but between Neighbors and Farmington.
Then it goes to the.
It gets right to the DCEC entrance.
Is that going to end up in the
Yes.
better than the temporary roads are putting down the other one?
I hope so.
I think lost time.
I heard it. So, yeah, just kind of the revisions we're talking about. Number 1 on there is downgrading current FM 121 Van Alstyne Parkway from a 6-lane or thoroughfare lane to a 4-lane. Number 2 is Spence Road extension, which you can see how it ties in with the 121 as it goes through Gunner. It takes that big curve out of the equation, does that. Hodgins Road ties in with the Judd.
Where did that cross the tank? That cross.
Yeah, I've done this.
What's that?
Well, yes, or my aerials on this,
Halfway down.
I put all,
all the aerials too. Okay.
yeah, yep.
Okay. All right. Well, if you want to see, yeah, I've got that coming up, Mr. Hendrick. I will go through that. I just want to, let me finish going through the projects. And then Farmington keeps going straight out, ties in McConnell Road out there again. So basically what we're doing is we're getting a grid, and that's essentially a 1-mile grid, which is typical traffic planning hierarchy as we go through there. Then project 5 is the reroute of 121 coming in from the east side of town. And like I said, somewhere between Hines Ranch Road and Spain Road, moving north and getting into the Spence Road alignment. Number 6 is taking out the little jog up north off of Sister Grove. And number 7 is extending Farmington into Sister Grove. So those are the proposed changes. You asked about, this is kind of the Spence and 121 alignment. This is the current alignment. The blue is the current alignment. And you can see where 121 comes up and how straight that
That'd be
is.
very interesting, because there's some long-term landowners that's going to split their property down.
Well, actually, if you go through here, and I did it in quadrants, I did it in halves and did it in quadrants, and if you go through here, there's actually a corridor on every one of them that really, I mean, this is at the north end of Majors here at Farmington, that's undeveloped property through there. This is that area over the Hackberry, you go behind those existing lots, and so
A large property owners, that there's a long time.
Yeah.
Not the small ones, the big landowners.
when it gets to Hackberry and Marine, it kind of follows the Marine alignment. So that's something that we talk about. And where Jim Jones, and it ties in with Jim Jones, where it ties in with the west side of 75. So it is amazingly straight and amazingly free of.
They would have to,
Yeah.
you start wiring.
Well, but it takes out a lot of all those little cross angles, and those cross angles were on creeks and on over soil conservation lakes with required bridges. This just missing. It looks wonderful. So
So
I
I
got
have,
it in my life.
so what I do like is the fact that 121, where it comes from GCEC, to Nelson Parkway, so that's what's being built now, so I have to be reconstructed.
Right.
So that leads into, while we're doing this, while we're going through this planning of the board and see, can we make sure that what we align for takes into consideration every zoning that we do. The common, I know we have one earlier, that typically the screen and everything.
I've got to review it and make sure that, yeah, it's my job to make sure that it complies with the thoroughfare plan and that we reserve a corridor that matches the thoroughfare plan. And if there's an alternate to that, good.
I think, development, we're going to have as well as part of that.
There's a proportionality calculation that we do based on their traffic count, the number of houses that they put out on that street. They are
Not expected.
they're required to cover the traffic that they're adding to the city.
But what I'm saying is that, sorry. What I'm saying is that there's going to be 6 lane on Stennis. And somebody wants to come in for the development. Are we going to require them to put the 3 lanes on their side?
Well, that depends on their development pattern but we will either have them build it or they will escrow the money to have it built when the city sees it.
There's already development going on.
Yes. Yes.
That's an outdated area. There's
Yeah.
actually subdivided lots on the south side.
Well, yeah, that's on
And
that's on the, on that plat there are 7 lots on the south.
when we hire a city planner, we will be moving quickly with updating our master plan, which is Len's been trying to get done now for several years, but we will probably at that point start having meetings every 2 weeks to move forward to get. We need to play catch up. We have a meeting like this once a month, a meeting to catch up on our ordinances and our master plan and all of that. And so that's your seat up.
Well, I think like.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break. And then come back.
Yeah. What I want. It's just.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, we'll hold on breath. I said we'll hold on breath.
Those curves are really great for classic car tours.
They were great for my neighborhood.
Well, Jim, and you look at where this crosses Farmington on the west side, that we've got Hunter's Glen and Meadow, forget what this one was called. But it fits immediately north of it. And there's a corridor there between the creek and the back of those houses. I was surprised.
It's great for the city, it's just tearing up my children.
But
Children is just that each door
you can still take that for
for a while.
I'm actually,
Probably be gone, but it'll probably still be there, right?
yeah, I'm actually 20 years from now. It's still- Are you done with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll wait.
Unless you want to see more, unless you want to see more pictures.
Always want to see more pictures.
Bring a dog out.
Right.
I get rid of the young, shouldn't put on.
You're guaranteeing that drag strip's going to go in
So has Texton weighed in with, the Spence Road overpass,
Yes.
on-off ramps and all that?
Yeah, when the 2018 thoroughfare plan was approved and the Advisory Committee for the Sherman Denison Planning Organization was, we did identify, we have the existing overpass at Farmington. We did identify the new overpass at Hodgins. We did identify the new one at Spence. And then the existing ones at County Line Road. And it is in their long-range plan. And with the 2022 or 23 project for 75 that's coming on, I think we get one of those. I think we're going to get, if they decide to finally go one-way frontage roads, we need to have the Spence one so everybody can turn around if they're getting on basically from the dollar store north.
Now, the five extension is supposed to happen fairly quickly.
Up through Collin County. It stops at the county. Stops at the county. Right. And yeah, and you're just, and you know, you mentioned FM 121, we already have the right of way. We'll have the final facility in basically once they finish building this section. We have an 80-foot right of way on Waco Street, which also is a 4-lane section. So we already have the existing right of way through town for that ultimate 4-lane, if and when that ever comes to fruition.
So on the right,
Staff reports, Jennifer, do you have anything?
I don't.
We need a recommendation to the city council that, to adopt these changes, to take them forward to Grayson County.
Yeah.
Just as discussion.
Discussion.
I don't
It's not action.
That's why I didn't not say consider and take action.
Okay. Staff reports, still blowing and going. As Mr. Hendrick noted, that they are cutting the new streets in for the next phase of Graywood, which is another 102 lots out there. Mantua is pouring sidewalks and trails and doing their screening walls, and soon to have their landscape up. So I'm expecting to see housing permits probably pulled in 45 to 60 days in Mantua. Oak Brook is in full construction mode there. If you haven't been down Houston Street recently, that's the one behind the Bronx, the Pulte development.
I hear it all day.
If you haven't been up Houston Street, they have to come all the way to Dallas Street to tie in the water line. They have adequate water to go back out to Bronx.
What's the plan to have Houston Street repaved?
They'll have to fix what they've done. We don't have plans to do concrete at this point, but we have plans to get it. It will be repaired to hope, I'm expecting Kelly Lane type.
Houston Street was terrible before they started.
I understand, so that discussion will be had.
Process.
Dallas isn't much better.
No.
Dallas will get better. There's a project out on the streets being advertised to do Dallas from Jefferson down to Shreveport, so we will get the Kelly.
I thought that was just utility.
It's utilities, but I gotta rip up the street and put the utilities in, so.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
That's why.
and then,
You gotta repair some of the roads because we need to do the utilities.
and then the other project that's out for bids is Clement, which is from, Pearl all the way to to Tulsa almost.
Have you got any bids yet?
Oh, the plans are going out next week, and then the bids will be next month, so it'll be.
I thought it was approved.
Yeah, the council approved the authorization, so we have to go through the formal bidding process to make that happen. Thompson Farms, the contracts have been signed and are back in, will be delivered to the city manager tomorrow. We get their off-site water and sewer from
that?
That's out on the west side.
Jones.
That's the old Jones farm.
Point.
Yeah, that's the old Jones farm. That taking it from basically the college all the way out to the creek where they built the new.
Oh, yeah, they've already been lots.
Yeah, they're doing lots. We gotta get the water.
That's where the
to so they can turn it on when they need to. And then,
Anything about commercial?
No, they do have 28 acres of commercial on that corner, on the northwest corner of Jim Jones and Van Alstine Parkway, but I haven't seen any requests for that.
Jennifer, do we know if the revisions for the residential ordinances, is that moving forward? Whose hands is that in at this time, do you know?
It's dead at the moment.
Is there a reason it's dead, or just nobody doing it with
I
it?
think nobody's doing anything with it, with the staffing turnover.
I have a request that we undead it.
Yeah.
And this has been 9 months, and we need to, yeah, we're gonna suffer for it because there's gonna be some houses that go up that we're not happy with.
This is the changes that were discussed at,
We discussed
The
it 2
last
months ago,
meeting.
but they were written 6 months before that, and then they set for 6 months and nothing happened, and then we discussed it again when Amy got here.
okay.
You remember? Correct. Okay, and I will give you an update that the city is interviewing at this time for city planner, and I've been in some of that, and so hopefully there's a possibility that there'll be a new person on board by our next meeting. Possible.
And then the last thing is the Brooks, the apartment complex. We're doing a final walkthrough with them next Monday on their concrete and their utilities. They still got to build the apartments themselves, but we will have the infrastructure review, final review, and punch list set out for them. So.
All right.
Somebody's telling me about 700 or 800 home development coming in somewhere in the future. Not talking about management.
I get that every day somewhere around.
There's
It's not-
824 out right at the edge of Van Alstine and.
Yeah, you review this body has reviewed the preliminary plat.
That was 820 something anyway.
Yeah, 1106 down in Colorado County. Yeah, that came through about 6 or 9 months ago.
Yeah, I've heard a word since that.
Yeah, that one.
We're still trying to figure out water.
Yeah, they've got water issues and they've got sewer issues.
They're the ones that didn't want to go with the third.
We already recommend approval, but on the increase to the history maker project, there's green space and,
No, they'll be dedicating park fees. They're gonna do the park fees for this phase. Similar, yeah.
okay. There was a surveyor, Hackberry, they're gonna put a water line in, another water line down Hackberry Road.
No, for,
FYI.
okay, for Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, they just,
Yeah.
the surveyor was out there, just said they're gonna add water.
Yeah.
North side of Hackberry.
Well, yeah, the Marilee sub handles everything from White's Creek, which is at the end of where the Thompson development. That's all the Marilee Special Utility District serving water out there. And I know that they are seeing probably 300 to 400 new lots out in that region around Wilsema and Farmington. And I mean, but that's under county jurisdiction, but I know that that's going on.
That's all.
Anything else you give a call tonight? If not, I'll declare this meeting adjourned. Thank y'all for being here.
I missed it. Recommendation for that.
You don't have to get one.
We don't have to say that.
Hey, Jennifer,